everybody and welcome to Train Sim World 5. If this does happen to be the first stream or video you've seen by me, then my name's Richard, aka Dadrail, and I'm a mainline freight train driver and former passenger train driver based in the southeast of England. Before we jump into the video, and as always, you know what I'm going to say, all the views and opinions expressed within this are solely my own and may not affect those of any companies I may be employed by or associated with. Furthermore, big thank you to Dovetail Games for giving me a key for the route and key for the game and the routes and the other content completely free of charge. However, Dovetail Games do have no editorial control over the content. All the opinions are my own. If I like something, I'll tell you about it. If I don't like something, I'll also tell you about that. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the West Coast Mainline Route, and in particular the Avanti Class 390 Pendolino, one of my favourite trains in real life, and I'm really pleased to have this in the game. I am going to be putting out other content over the next few days, or possibly even later on today, covering the 710 on the DC lines, and also the excellent Class 350, and some general Train Sim World 5 features, including that much wanted guard mode. We're going to be covering all of those in other videos, but today we are going to be focusing on that Class 390. So, let's load up the Class 390 and see what we get. So we've got the two variations of the Class 390 there. We've got the 390-0 Avanti West Coast, which is your 9-car variant, and the 390-1, which is your 11-car variant. We're going to load up the 11-car variant. And as you can see, we've got a good selection of services on there. Quite a few services to keep us busy and keep us entertained. Some of them are fast services to Milton Keynes, others do stop at Watford Junction. We'll talk about why it's only gone to Milton Keynes as we get into it in a bit more detail. So I'm going to load up one service that I've done already, because I like to be prepared, which is the 9 Papa 47 London Euston to Blackpool North, which ties in nicely with the Blackpool Branches DLC. Although they're completely different eras, it still kind of works. And that one stops at Watford Junction as well. Right, let's put the weather on clear and hit that get started button. So here we are in game, 9 Papa 47 London Euston to Blackpool North. So what we're going to be doing in this stream is driving this train from London Euston up to Milton Keynes. We're going to have a look around the cab, we're going to have a look at all the features within the cab, we're going to get some shots of the outside of the train, have a walk through into the passenger compartment, and also have a good look at the route and discuss it as we go along. I'll give you my opinions as a train driver and as a Train Sim World player, and I'm always interested to hear yours down in the comment section below. So, as always, first thing we're going to do is we are going to head over to the safety systems panel and get our safety systems cut in. So, vigilance, driver safety device isolation, and our AWS. We also need to put the AWS circuit breaker in and flip our TPWS round to normal. I've said it lots of times before, but I would really like an option in the menu screen to be able to have safety systems turned on by default. In the real world, this panel here, you would never touch it unless you're isolating something. Everything would be in as standard, and it'd be really nice to have an option within Train Sim World's menu to have everything turned on by default. Okay, let's get in the driver's seat. Let's get this thing fired up. So, key in. Really liking the wear and tear here on the power brake controller handle. I mean, these trains have got to be 15, 20 years old, so they are starting to show their age a little bit. And cancelling off the AWS, you can see we've got the TASS system, which is the tilt and speed system, I believe. Yeah, I may be a train driver, but I've never been trained in that system, so it's going to be a bit of a learning curve for me as well. And your Q key, so the same key you used to reset on PC, you used to reset the AWS, it'll be the same on console, resets that also. So, doors on the right hand side. We've got another Pendolino going out of Euston over there. And we're going to set our lights as well once I find the control. There we go. Day running. We are currently loading passengers. GSMR setup, so the GSMR's not had any sort of modifications or anything done to it. That is pretty much as it is. We don't need to do anything with that. I would like to have some sort of mod on the GSMR so we can set that up properly, so we need to enter our train ID number, but alas, we've kind of got what we had on all the other iterations of Train Sim. Right, locking doors. Okay, are we going to get a guard's buzzer? We possibly did. It might have been because I was outside that we didn't hear it. Ah, I've gone into off. There we go. That's not supposed to happen. Okay. Right, we've got one yellow on the signal ahead. Let's get this thing going. Looking good, looking good. When we do our Class 710 stream, the London Overground stream on the DC lines, we are going to be looking at the stations in a little bit more detail. We will kind of glance around them as we go along, but obviously we're going to be stopping a lot more on that one, so we will be paying a bit more attention to the stations themselves. So 25 leaving London Euston. This is not a section of railway line that I sign in real life, so I'm literally winging it as we go along. And we got a Class 350 heading in on our right hand side there. Real shame that they couldn't get the branding for that. We have got the livery, of course, but no branding. I suspect someone in the community will mod that pretty soon. Right, we're good for 40. Quite a complicated layout as we come out of Euston here. You've kind of got lines diving under and climbing up. And off to our left hand side, I believe that's where HS2 is going to end up going. 25 through the points, and we have got an E, which I believe is for E section. So the lines coming out of Euston are A, B, C, D, E and F. So on this particular service we are calling at Watford Junction and Milton Keynes. One of the reasons I've picked this is because it is one of the services that stops at Watford Junction. I think if you're going fast through to Milton Keynes, it's kind of nice to have that stop at Watford Junction just to break it up a little bit. And we do have the suspension physics as well, nice clickety-clack and bouncing as we go across the points, which is something I really like. Right, we're giving it a little bit of power, getting it up to notch 4. We're good for 50 miles an hour. From what I'm hearing so far, I think it sounds pretty good. I mean, I'm not... I have travelled on Pendolinos a few times, but I'm not massively familiar with the way they sound. But they do seem to sound pretty good. So I believe these tunnels are called Primrose Hill Tunnel. Again, I don't sign this route in real life. But I think this is kind of Primrose Hill, this area that we're currently going through. So the lighting effects in the tunnels are particularly good. It's very dark in the tunnel. This is what I would expect the inside of a tunnel to look like, this kind of lighting level. That is very good. And we're 55 up to 80 as we come out the tunnel. And we do also have a speed set feature on here which will hold our speed. It's called a speed set. It's more of like a speed hold. Yeah, I must say I am really liking what I see at the moment. West Coast Mainline in Train Sim Classic is definitely one of my favourite routes. It's a nice drive through to Birmingham as well. You know, they've made the decision in this to terminate it at Milton Keynes. I think, like everybody, I would like to have seen it gone further, you know, up to Rugby or even Birmingham. But I guess it's one of those things, you know, as a developer, you've got to make a decision on how far you're going to take the route, where you're going to terminate it. Do you make a longer route and make it to less quality, or you know, do you make a longer route and charge more money for it because you've spent twice as long developing it? You know, we've got one intermediate station with Watford Junction going on. So yeah, I would like to have seen it a bit longer, but Milton Keynes feels pretty decent. I think the main appeal for me about this route is we've got the Bakerloo line over to the right hand side there. We've got the class 710 layers, all the overground stuff up to Watford Junction via the DC lines. We've got the 390s on here, we've got the 350s, and we've got the 377 on the Milton Keynes services as well as the freight layers, of course, the 66s. So I think overall there's enough variety on this route to keep you busy. You know, it's a good amount of AI traffic. You're kind of seeing pretty much everything you would in real life, bar a couple of units. So yeah, I think for that, for playability, repeatability and playability, it's definitely got that factor to it. So we are coming up towards 100 miles an hour. We have got Kensal Rise just off to our right. Is that Kensal Rise or Kensal Green? I always get those ones mixed up. And we're coming towards Willesden. So the yellow board we can see on the bottom, the yellow board with the red background, that is the enhanced maximum speed. So being a class 390 Pendolino with the TASS safety system, we can follow the enhanced speeds. So this would be 90 miles an hour for all other traffic, but we are permitted to do 105. Willesden Traction Maintenance Depot off to our right hand side. I am going to do something here. I am going to go like that and go like that, and I'm just going to jump into photo mode very quickly because I do want to have a look, because although I said I don't sign any of this route, I might have lied to you just a little bit, because I do sign round the corner there. So round the corner to the right is the West London lines down to Kensington, Olympia and Clapham Junction, which would then link up with the Brighton Mainline. So that is something we definitely need in game. This area here is an area I know quite well. It just looks a little bit kind of bare and underdone to me. It doesn't look particularly great. The North London line's heading over top, and Willesden Junction high level up there. There's also, and I've pointed this out, there's no OLE on this line here. So it's kind of a, you know, it's a good representation. It's a very good representation, but this just feels a little bit too clean to me. So off to our left hand side we've got Acton Lane reception sidings and Willesden Euro Terminal. And we are approaching the 105 that we're permitted to do. So we are coming up to Wembley. My frame rate does excuse me, my frame rate does tend to drop off a little bit round here. The relief lines going off to our left and passing underneath us. The arch of Wembley Stadium over to our right. Yeah, I would like to have seen a lot more traffic in Wembley. You've got the Princess Royal Royal Mail Depot over to the right-hand side, Wembley Yard coming up. I guess that's probably a performance issue. The reason, you know, I was saying with the southwest sidings area back at Willesden, I would imagine this whole area is really sort of heavy on performance. So I should imagine that's kind of why they haven't overpopulated it. There's always going to be a balance between making something look pretty and making it run well. And when you've got, I mean, just look at the size of Wembley here with all the overheads going on and everything else. You know, you've kind of got to balance up and sort of work out, you know, what's going to work. And we're just coming up to Wembley Central now. We are going to make use of our speed set feature once we reach 120 miles an hour. 9.1 miles to Watford Junction. We will have a little play round in the cab as well and go for a wander through the train. Although we do have the 710 layers and the 350 layers, the amount of AI traffic is... It does seem to be a little bit lacking, possibly. I mean, it might just be my perception, but I just would have expected there to be a little bit more AI traffic. Again, that could be my perception. But I am liking the suspension across the points and the clickety-clack noise. Those of you who have been following me for a while will know the clickety-clack noise over points is something that I've been critical about in the past. So really pleased to have that going on. The other elephant in the room for me is the lack of announcements on the train and on the stations. That's something I think we need to see. We have started seeing it. Blackpool branches as kind of a manual announcement system, as is Edinburgh, Glasgow, and then of course Fife Circle we did have an automatic announcement system. Bakerloo line train on the left there. So I think that is something we are hopefully gonna see in game in the future. But it's, in terms of immersion, I think it's something we definitely need. I was saying about the AI traffic, maybe I was wrong. We do seem to be getting a fair bit of it now. Right, so we're approaching 125. I am going to press the speed set button, which is going to light up, and that's going to hold us at 125. So then we've got absolutely nothing to do but follow the signals. You can see that suspension working away there. You can see the cab bouncing. And of course, one of the things they have done in Train Sim World 5, which I haven't mentioned, is they've got rid of the kind of annoying shadowy texture in front of the train. That has gone. You used to have like a shadow that followed you around everywhere. That has now gone. So hurrah, hurrah for that. There's just the kind of right amount of bounce here on the suspension. It's I think I've got it on the default setting, but it's pretty good. There's kind of just enough there to make it realistic. I know some people can start feeling motion sick with these things, so I'm pleased with that. I'm really happy with. For me, it works. Okay, 3.8 miles out from Watford Junction. Vigilance alarm going off just there. Yeah, there definitely is a fair amount of AI traffic. I think I was unfair in my early criticism there. Right, there's a 110 restriction coming up, so I am playing with the HUD set to minimal. I kind of like this style of HUD where I've got to use my speedo to assess the speed rather than having it up the top. I've just dropped it down for the 110 in time there. So we do have this little indication here in the speedo which says 0. For those of you that are wondering, this will give us our dynamic brake force, so the amount of dynamic/electronic rheostatic braking that the train is producing. So if I put a little bit of brake in, you can see that we've got 5 kilonewtons of brake forces being generated by the dynamic braking on the train. Right, we're not going to do a Nebworth. We are going to get some braking, and we are definitely stopping at Watford Junction. Otherwise it'll be tea and biscuits with the manager. And we are on 11 car set heading for the end of the platform here at Watford Junction. The brakes on the Pendolino are pretty decent, to be completely honest with you. Yeah, definitely coming in a little bit too slow here, but we've got a few minutes before departure, so we're running on time. And we'll jump out and go and have a little nosy around Watford Junction and see what we can find. 6 to 8 car stop marker, and we've got the 9 to 12, which is the one we're aiming for. Still managing to overshoot the station. There we go. We will absolutely take that. Right, let's jump outside so we can hear the door opening noises before we go ahead and open the doors. Loving the animation there, the way the step comes out. So this is something I want to pick up on here. Destination Milton Keynes. That is as far as we can take the train, but obviously that isn't the destination. This is going on to Blackpool, but I believe all the trains have got Milton Keynes as their destination. So that's something I'm not overly keen on at the moment. What are we doing? Camera angles. There we go. And we got the 350 there. We are going to be doing a 350 run as well. That's going to be out in a separate video, so do check that one out. Nice to have Desiros in game. Are we going to see the 450 in a Southwestern add-on? That would be really, really good if we did. And of course we got our Southern 377 over there with its pantograph up, getting to drive the Electrostars in AC mode as well, which is obviously very welcome. So having a quick look around Watford Junction is looking pretty good. Is looking pretty good. Got some Transport for London branded pictures there. Lots of foliage in the track, which we do like the look of. This is a really good representation. The building there looks pretty accurate. We've got the drain covers in the 6 foot there, which are on a bit of a wonk. So that's pretty good and realistic. Nothing on these signs here. I wonder if that's a placeable. Let's head up and see the Railway Enthusiast. Oh my god, that is the first time I've seen that in game. Okay, that's yes. That makes me happy. The fact we have a Railway Enthusiast with a camera on the end of a platform, that is something I've gone on about for ages. That I know it just makes me happy. It just makes me happy. There we go, Watford Junction. Waiting until 7:32, which is just coming up. I did inadvertently manage to turn the train off as well. Let's jump outside for our door close animation. And the step going in. Yeah, nice, nice. I noticed the Stadler Flirts, the step goes in and out as well. I was riding some of those quite recently. Okay, we've got a green. Full power and off we go. So let's have a little look around our cab and explore some of the systems and what they do as we leave Watford Junction. So over on our left hand side, passenger alarm healthy. Safety system, parking brake, other cab on. Whether these light up or not, I don't know. TPWS as standard there with your standard lights. Selection door, all cars or rear cars disabled. I'm guessing that works. When we get to Milton Keynes, if I remember, I will have a go at that. We've got our instrument panel. Emergency stop button, standard power brake control handle, so 4 power notches, 6 brake notches and an emergency. Speed set, snow brake. We'll have a look at the TMS screen in a few minutes, the train management system. Coming around, hazard lights, not clickable, so they don't work. That's a little bit of a shame. We've got our... Oh no, that's my bad. So hazard lights are on the switch there. Don't want to see a train coming towards you with hazard lights on. That means you're having a bad day. And we can control the dimming level on the screen, and there's presumably the other instrument lights there, which is pretty cool. So coming around, we've got our tilt panel, the alarm acknowledge button, which you can use the same key that you've got mapped to your AWS. That cancels that. You can isolate your tilt function. We've got various sort of lights and indicators for the tilt. I don't know too much about this. I've got to do some reading or watch some of my fellow Dovetail ambassadors' tutorials on it. Right, we'll get through the tunnels and then we'll carry on with our little tour around the cab. Again, really liking the lighting levels in the tunnel. They've done a good job with that. and 29 miles to Milton Keynes. I mean, it is a fair old drive. It's a fair old drive. Good bloomage on the signal as well there. And we got an enhanced permissible speed of 125. Okay, so carrying on our little tour around the cab, we've got our door controls. Left passenger doors enabled. Pause for doors, very important. Door interlock close. Selective reclose. Brake pipe continuity test. So this would be used when these were being loco hauled by the 57s. So I doubt that's used at the moment. We're going to have to try getting the Phoenix Rail 37 with the Delna coupling, see if you can put them together. Couple and uncouple, West Coast Mainline to West Coast Mainline use only. That's worth having a little play about. We're going to do a live stream. We're going to do a bumper live stream. Do check that out. We're going to play around with all the coupling and stuff. DRA Speedo, TASS again. Don't know too much about that, so I'm not going to play with it too heavily. AWS as standard. You got your brake indicators, GSMR, windscreen wipers. No demister function and no washer jet. I really want working windscreen washers with bug splatter that you have to clean off. I just think that would be a really cool effect to have in game. Pantograph selectors, cab air conditioning, door controls, cab lights, and your on-train communications we've got over there. And obviously our safety system panel we've already had a little look at. So yeah, the modelling on the cab seems pretty good to me. Like I say, from my perspective, from the kind of the train sim well player and the casual enthusiast, if you like. I mean, I know I'm a train driver, but casual enthusiast, if you like. The sounds are pretty decent. To some hardcore, die-hard fans, you might tell me it's completely awful. Hey, driven 90 miles in the 390. If you do think the sounds are completely awful, then tell me about it. I'd like to hear about that. But yeah, for me, it's absolutely fine. Right, so we're up to 125. I'm going to press my speed set button, and that is going to hold us at 125. And we're going to jump in and have a little blip, which come up to the station. I don't know the names of the stations on the West Coast Mainline. I need to do a little bit of route learning. But of course, we do now have all of the tooltips. Okay, what am I acknowledging the AWS for there? I've got no idea. Freight train coming the other way. We do now, of course, have on our map all the labels. There we go, Hemel Hempstead. Okay, let's have a little look in the train management system. So one of the things we can now do is click view screen and get a full screen look. So I'm not looking out the window. Hopefully this is not going to go terribly wrong. So let's have a look at what we can actually access on here. So number one, passenger comfort check. We can have a look at that. Can't really do anything in there. We've got saloon lights, emergency lights, saloon temperature. F1 back to the main menu. Number two, current fault list we can't access. 3 we can't access. 4 we can't. 5 we can't. 6, 7, 8 we can get into, which is our train system status. So pantograph down on that coach. Okay, when you're in the menu screen there, you can't cancel the DSD. I've just discovered that. Yeah, brakes status, auxiliary converter, batteries, heating, all that sort of thing in there. Number 9 just takes us back to that one. F1 backup speed, F2 fleet alert, F3 more options, F4 boost mode. That does work. Whether that actually does anything or not, I don't know. But yeah, not a great deal of functionality on the GSMR there. I do appear to have temporarily isolated my TPWS as well. Okay, so we can see the tilt in full action there. What a beautiful sight. Head chopper moment with another Pendolino. What a beautiful sight. What I am going to try doing in a moment is just isolating the tilting system just to see what the difference is and see how it looks. So we're maintaining that 125. Loving the way that's tilting. Right, let's whack that around into isolated. Tilt not available. Obviously there is a little bit of cant is the correct word, C-A-N-T, I believe. A little bit of banking on the track, so we will kind of get a bit of a tilt effect going on. But you can see the kind of body is rigid to the wheels. So let's put our tilt back to normal. And then have another look when we go around some of the bends. This is it's a very nice driving experience. And although, you know, we've got like 17 miles to Milton Keynes, there's enough scenery en route and enough little stations and stuff to keep it interesting, which I like. It's kind of like Kassel-Wurzburg, for example, you know, the German route. Nice route, but just miles and miles and miles of nothing. So although on this route, although we're not stopping at stations, there's still enough going on to keep me busy, and I like that. I like that. So I think we've got a little bit of tilt going on now, so let's jump outside. Yeah, the body is definitely tilted in relation to the position of the bogies there. Yeah, I definitely take back what I was saying earlier about the AI traffic. There definitely is a fair amount of AI traffic. And I do like that because it just makes the route feel more alive. So when we get to Milton Keynes, we're going to go and have a look around the interior of the train, because that's about the only thing we haven't done yet. And then we're going to wrap it up on this video. Like I say, I have got more content either out or coming out on this route. We're going to be covering the 710 on the DC lines from Watford Junction, and also the Class 350. There is also a bumper live stream, which is going to be on... if you're watching this on release date, the bumper live stream is on the 12th, so it may have already happened, depending on when you're watching this. We need some sort of dynamic editing feature in YouTube. But that's basically where we're going to be jumping into everything and kind of having a play and coupling and uncoupling and seeing kind of what funky little things we can get up to. And that's just holding that 125 just lovely there. I think one of the criticisms I would possibly have about this route, it does seem a little bit clean. You know, there doesn't seem to be much clutter and graffiti and bits and bobs around it. It just seems a little bit pure. I mean, maybe that's just me, but... And I am pleased that they went with the south section of the West Coast Mainline this time, rather than sort of doing like they did with the East Coast Mainline, Peterborough to Doncaster. You know, I'm really pleased they've done this rather than sort of doing, you know, Birmingham to Preston or something like that. I think it would be really nice now to have some more locomotives as an addition. A Class 92 for the Caledonian Sleeper, I'll be absolutely here for that. Again, that's something that could be layered onto Edinburgh Glasgow as well, so That would look pretty cool. Maybe a Class 90, a Freightliner Class 90. For some freight stuff, electric freight traction would be pretty cool. Yeah, a Class 70 even. I think it would be really nice to get some more loco hauled freight stuff. Class 325s will have mail by rail. Lots of potential for this route, lots of potential. I mean, credit where credit's due. I genuinely think they've done a really nice job on this route. I really do. I'm genuinely quite impressed with it. Tilt round these corners. Let's isolate the tilt halfway round a corner. Yeah, it does kind of straighten us out, doesn't it? Let's put the tilt back in. Yeah, the tilt isolator is working. Definitely working there. Although I do believe if we've got the tilt isolated, then we are duty bound to follow the standard speed limits. We can't follow the enhanced speed limits because obviously we have no tilt working. It's a very nice route. I mean, I am of the opinion West Coast is the best coast. I mean, I know there are certain people in the Dabrowell community and beyond that would really disagree with that. Emily, here's looking at you. I think West Coast is the best coast. Some people would say East Coast is the best coast, but it doesn't even rhyme. I mean, come on, West Coast is the best coast. So we do have another station coming up in about 2.5 miles. I am going to see if we can get a flyby shot through that station. Although my abilities with the free cam leave a lot to be desired. Let's put it that way. And then we need to start thinking about slowing down pretty. Although it looks like we might get checked down before we get to the station. Oh, we might be okay. Right, let's jump into free cam and see if we can do this. I don't think I'm far enough ahead of the train. Oh, it wouldn't let me cancel the vigilance. This is Bletchley, I believe, that we're coming through now, which is really nicely modelled. Yeah, Bletchley. Well, that didn't quite go as planned, did it? We'll try doing it on the 350 stream. I'm sure we'll have more luck. They're not quite as fast as Pendolino's. It wouldn't let me cancel the vigilance. I had the shift key held down to go faster and it wouldn't let me cancel the vigilance. I had to let go of all the buttons, which is when I lost my advantage. Okay, 75 warning if we are going off to the right. We don't know which way we're going to be going yet. Two yellows. I should imagine if we were going off to the right we would have had flashing yellows at some point. But as we are only 1.2 miles out, let's start slowing down. The sense of speed that you get from this train, I find a little bit, one yellow, a little bit difficult to kind of grasp the sense of speed. It's exactly the same in real life. I've done some route learning on the Great Western Mainline in the 800s, the cucumbers, and it's exactly the same in there. You can be travelling at 125 miles an hour in the cab and you just don't feel it. It's something about how far back you're sitting from the windscreen or how sort of isolated you are in the cab. You just don't feel the speed, and that's kind of the issue I'm having here. I'm just not getting the sense of speed, and again, I don't think that's a problem with the game or the train. That is how these things are in real life. You know, if you're driving an Electrostar or a Desiro where you're practically sitting against the windscreen, it's very different to driving one of these. And of course, in game you don't have that sense of inertia that you have in real life, so you're sort of at a disadvantage immediately. That is way too fast coming towards a red signal, guys. That would be tea and biscuits with my manager for sure. Should be no more than 20 at the AWS magnet. As we come into Milton Keynes Central. Okay, full service brake, DRA set, into neutral, and doors on the right hand side. There we go. Right, okay, let's go for a little wander through the train and see what we can find. So, straight away we're into kind of the electrical storage emergency equipment area. Door is for crew use only there, so we can open that. And then we're straight through into the kitchens. Very nice indeed. And then into the first class compartment there. And carry on, next stop Milton Keynes, carry on walking through. It's the moment of truth. Can we get in the toilet? Can we get in the toilet? Oh, it's going to happen. Someone's going to mod it. Someone is definitely going to mod it. Running through the first class compartment there. I do like the vestibules on these in general, and the way they're modelled here is pretty nice and pretty authentic. Standard premium. Can't get in the toilet. Got to try them all. And this is where I'm used to sitting. Standard class. But yeah, the interior modelling doesn't look too bad. I mean, our train is completely empty. I don't know whether that's, you know, there's a reason for that. I remember on the Pendolinos when they originally come out with Virgin trains, when they were the Virgin Pendolinos, between the seat there you had a little like FM radio or like a pre-recorded radio. You plug some headphones into it and you had like your own at-seat radio, which is pretty cool. Can we play with the window blinds? No, we can't. Can we play with the lights? No, we can't. I mean, the sort of textures on here and stuff are not particularly great. I mean, I'm not blown away with the interior. It looks very kind of squarey and boxy, if I'm being completely honest. It's passable. I mean, we don't spend a lot of time in here, and if there's a performance trade-off, then I completely get it, but we should probably get off this train. But yeah, really, really nice model. Generally, I thoroughly enjoyed that drive. So that is I would be completely honest with you, that's the second time I've done that drive. And thoroughly enjoyable. Although I don't think I'm going to be able to end the scenario now because it's telling me to lock the doors and I've locked myself out the train. I want to be able to end the scenario. No! Okay, we've noticed something. There we go, we got all the way to the end. That's a me not following instructions and giving up control of the train. I'll report that as a bug. There we go. If my soundboard was working, that would get a mwah, 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 mwah. Not for the game, but for me. But there we go, guys. Train Sim World 5 West Coast Mainline Class 390 Pendolino. I really like it. I mean, there's a few things on the route which I think could be improved on. There's definitely an issue at the end there with it kind of not working as intended, but I really like it. I think it's a really nice drive. I think the route looks pretty fantastic, and it's quite an interesting route to drive. So for me, it's scoring well, but I'm always interested to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you are familiar with these trains, if you do travel on them a lot, if you're familiar with the route, always pleased to hear, you know, sort of what your criticism, what your comments are. And don't just tell me if you don't like it. I'm also interested to hear if you do like it as another Pendolino comes in. It's almost like I timed it like that. So I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, don't forget to leave me a like and consider subscribing. That would be absolutely awesome. You can also check out my social media channels, which will be on the screen for you in the next few seconds. That's the one right there. We are going to be live streaming. We're going to be releasing a video on the 710, possibly the Bakerloo line, and the 350 as well. So hopefully you will join me for those and check out some more stuff on this fantastic route. We're also going to be doing a bit of an overview video where we sort of look at some of the new features within TrainSimWell 5, the conductor mode, and bits and bobs, route hopping, and all the other fancy features that come with it. So hopefully you're enjoying the game. Hopefully you're enjoying the route. Thank you very, very much for watching, and I shall see you in another video or live stream very soon. Bye for now.